All right. Welcome into the half, everybody. My name is Erich Montgomery, and you can find me at oursuccessgroup.com. This amazing gentleman right here is Erich Campbell, who you can find over at erichcampbell.com. Sir, how are you today?
Doing all right, doing all right. As usual, very busy. I think many of us are, though. I don't want to join the cult of busy, since I think that's it's not always the best thing to be super busy. But hey, that's where we are.
That's what I was going to say. As
That's
a
where we are.
society, I think we wear the I'm busy as a badge of honor.
Yeah, and
And
I'm not going to say that. In fact, what I'll say is, in my opinion, I need to be managing things better so that it's not always the case. I think that's not always good, but at the same time, definitely a busy week, and I know you're having a busy week too. So
yeah,
all of us are on the train. We're on the we're on the struggle bus, but hey, at least we're still
that's right.
kicking along.
Yeah. It's better. It's the better alternative than the alternative, I guess, is what I should
That's what I
say.
always say. Yeah, that when everybody asks me, and I know this is not like the nicest way of putting things, but hey, this is how I usually put things. Somebody asks me how I'm doing, and when I'm having a rough day, I'm like, well, I'm on the right side of the dirt today. Like
That's right.
that's
There you go.
that's about where I'm at. Like I could say that for myself today. Every time I wake up is another chance to try again.
There
So
you go.
hey, I woke up. That is a good it's a good chance to try again today. So
Good,
definitely
good,
happy to
good,
do
good.
it.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's check in. And then as we're checking in and saying hello, everybody, just want to give those that maybe new or um,
Yes.
maybe longtime listeners, but, first time callers, so to speak.
First time live attendees.
Live attendees. So just want to throw this out there. Here's the whole deal here. We get to chat with you guys. If it's going to be saying hello and interacting back and forth, that's fine. But if we want to get into some topics, you got questions, you've got certain things that you're working on, what's in your brain right now. So this is really an opportunity for Erich and I to get to interact with you guys. So
Yep.
with that being said, let's start with that, Erich. Let's say hello to some
Yeah, let's
folks.
say hello to some people. Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck, good afternoon. Thanks for being
Hey,
here.
Chuck.
And Bevy Jean, good morning to you.
Good
Depending
morning.
where you're at, good morning, good afternoon, whatever.
Hey, happy to have you in no matter what time it is. Also, hashtag replay squad. If you're watching this on the replay, listening to this as you do something else, we are happy to have you in too. Please still feel free to comment if you want to.
Yep. Put in that hashtag replay squad in there.
Yeah,
And
do it.
we appreciate you guys tuning in. Good morning and good morning from Ramona. Thank you,
Thank
Ramona.
you.
Yeah. Good morning to you. And Barb, good day, everyone. Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed. Thank you, Barb.
And
Mike is in. Hey, fellas, says Mike. And hey to you too, sir.
yeah, excellent. Crystal, thanks for being here. Happy to make 2 live shows today. And thank
Yeah.
thank you very much for the 5 things over there on 2 regular guys.
Yeah, she shared some of her insights at the end of Five Regular
Thoughts
Guys,
right
or
here.
for Two Regular Guys. Her 5 things and the insights she's going to get for that a pair of sublimated socks, the Two Regular Guys on it. If you guys missed out on the Two Regular Guys show today, we had William Boardman on talking about kind of the 3 essential truths about people and what we need and what we want, and talked a
Yep.
lot about purpose and how to deal with employees and customers and what it just means to kind of meet people with their real needs. So it was kind
Yep.
of interesting stuff today, and we might get into that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Ramona, 244 WTP shirt order has increased to include 5 more shirts, 12 aprons, and embroidered hats, plus my digitizing testing work. Woo, woo.
Yeah,
Yes.
do it. Keep that needle
Yeah.
moving up and down. That is how the money works. Come on, folks. Do it.
So that's awesome. Yeah, when the needle goes up and down, that's when you're
That's where
making
the
money.
money's
If
happening.
you're doing heat press stuff, whenever
Yep.
that heat press pops open, that's when you're making money.
That's cash.
If
That's
you're
the cash register.
Yeah, that's right. If you're a screen printer, when that shirt falls off the end of the dryer, that's when you're
That's
making
money.
money, right? So there we
Yeah,
go.
that's what I always tell somebody. Whenever somebody jumps on, and especially we always talk about the replay squad. Somebody will jump onto the live show and go, "I'm sorry, I can't be here. I had to go meet a customer." I'm like, "Why are you stopping to tell me? Go do your job. Stack
That's
that
right.
paper. Do what you have to do." I mean, also it's like there's something other creative thing that you're working on too. Even if it's not just straight making money, go do that creative thing and come back to me. I'll be here.
Yep, that's right. That is
We
the
will
cool
be
part.
here for you.
Yeah, that is the cool part about all this. The replay is always at the same place that the live was. So,
It's always
just
here, folks.
hit the replay. It's going to be there.
Go do
All
your
right.
thing.
Bill, hello. Thanks for
Hello,
being here.
Bill.
And we've got Mr. Jeff Fuller joining us. Hello,
Thank you
sir.
for being in, Jeff.
Yep.
Oh, and
Nancy.
Nancy of Madeira. Thank you for showing up
Yeah,
and
appreciate you
coming in
tuning
on
in.
LinkedIn. So Nancy does awesome lives from Madeira, USA. So you should be checking that stuff out. Check out all that stuff about materials and how they work.
Excellent. All right. Good morning to Clara. Am I saying that right, Eric?
Yes.
Who knows?
That's how I would say it, but I can
Okay.
be wrong.
All right. Correct us if we're wrong. If I'm wrong, excuse me. And
Please.
but good morning. Thanks for being here. And good morning to Justin.
Yes,
And
digitizing, I'm sure. Justin
yep,
Armenta is in.
yep.
And
And then
Josta.
Josta from Uppsala.
Uppsala, Sweden. Yeah.
Uppsala. There we go. All right.
Uppsala.
Good. And
Yeah, that's what Justin says. Or I just grab my AirPods and listen while I work. Believe me, this is how I got started in all of this stuff, is listening to the Trailer Guys while I worked. Turns out I can't do that now. Unfortunately, when you're producing, you actually have to be there. So
yeah.
can't digitize while I work nearly as much as I used to. Not that I don't occasionally do it while we're producing. I'm not going to say it's never happened. That would be a
Well, we can
lie, and
see it
that's not
now.
fair.
Before we could just make up stories about what was actually going on in the background when it was phone-in time.
Now the boys know if they catch me not paying enough attention that I'm working
He's
on something.
digitizing. Terry, he's digitizing again. No.
I'm discreet. You can't tell.
Yeah, that's right. He's got the Two Rare Guys book with the digitizing book inside of it, right? Is that kind of the?
I've got 2 plus sometimes screens for a reason, people. If I'm looking to one side too much, then you can call me out on it. You're like,
Yeah.
What is this guy doing over here right now? Yeah, don't ask. Don't ask.
All right, we've got Craig tuning in from Boston, and it's
Nice.
lunchtime there. What's for lunch, Craig?
Yeah, are we gonna get into the food comments again?
Yeah, get some food stuff going.
Always.
I mean, I lived in Boston for a little while, and the stereotype is that everybody just always eats chowder, clam chowder there. So I don't know.
Was that true at all?
No,
Did
no,
you
it wasn't
know?
true at all.
That's what I didn't.
But I know that like many people had fond memories of like sitting in Fenway with the cup of soup in their lap, and so ramen noodles. Here we go.
Okay, ramen. Hey man, nothing wrong with that. No
No
shame in the ramen game.
noodle. God, I need to get some of those. We haven't had that in a little bit. That's a good call.
Sounds good, right?
Now I'm hungry. Rich, hello. And Jaship says, enjoy listening while I work digitizing away. Good job.
Yeah, digitizers are big audiobook and podcast people because, and I'll say this, for me, it doesn't engage the same part of my brain. I can often multitask, that kind of stuff. I can listen to an audiobook and retain a lot of it while digitizing because it's two pretty separate parts of the brain that seem to be engaged. But I've been the idiot who tries to write while listening to an audiobook. That is impossible. Don't do that. Neither of the things will be done well.
Yeah. And then we've got Mr. Facebook user.
Todd,
and then
sure.
when Todd talks about Facebook users on his lives, he always says FU, which stands for Facebook user. So
sure it does.
I have to always remind him that it stands for Facebook user. So
yeah, I'm sure. Well, yo, anyway.
Yo, anyways.
Yo.
Kristen, hello. Craig says Sully is open. So that's a Boston thing.
Okay. I don't know that. It's like, I realized like we're talking about, food stereotypes, and I can't say anything because the food stereotype, we're like, oh, chowder, food stereotype. And I'm like, yeah, except for if you say, oh, you're in Albuquerque, you eating chili all day? And I'm like, yeah, totally. Absolutely. I'm putting chili on everything. No lie. Yeah, we do put green chili in literally everything. Nice. So yeah, no, yes, the stereotype is entirely.
Yeah. Mike says, I can't digitize and listen to something I care about at the same time. I've reheard some of my favorite movies 1,000 times, though. So there you go.
I'll say this. You get into concentrating on a detailed area or something difficult, and then you realize that you've had an entire chapter of an audiobook go by and you didn't retain any of it. That does happen. No lie. Because I've actually, very recently, I've been listening to an audiobook while I've been working on some assets over in Brilliance here, working on fonts and things that have to be fairly precise because they're going to be scaled up and down constantly. There's some chapters where I go back and I'm like, how did that end up here? Where did we lose the trail from where I was? Yeah, there's a good reason there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to focus, but I will say more than anything else, like I've been able to listen and digitize more at least than just about any other part of the work I've done.
Yeah. It's so, man, that's an interesting conversation. Let's say hello to K-Frey Creations here real quick. Hello.
Marta, she is in.
Marta, thank you for being here. So Eric, I want to talk about that real quick then.
All right.
We're talking about listening to different things. So
sure.
I don't, some people, there was a discussion over on our Volley channel about what things people are listening to as far as what's music's on their playlist.
Yeah.
I don't, that's so interesting to me because I don't listen to music very much while I'm working. And the reason for me is I don't, I get so kind of going, and a lot of things that are going on around me. There's like, oh, I need to watch this video. I need to, do this edit or something like that. And when that's going on for me,
Yeah.
if I've got music going on in the background and then, I've got to listen to a video, it just, I don't know. So I've never really been the listen to music person in the background.
I've been on and off, and I'll have to admit, right now I'm on an off kind of period in my life where I haven't been listening to a lot of music. I will do it sometimes, but yeah, not as much as I used to. When I used to be in an embroidery shop, of course, like embroidery and screen print shops, there's music always.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fight over who's got control of the major overhead stuff used to be a big deal. Back in the day, it was always like who got the speakers for the day and why.
Yeah.
And now it's everybody's got headphones. Everyone's wearing, whatever Bluetooth AirPods, whatever the heck they have
Yeah.
all the time now.
Yeah.
But yeah, personally, I'm not as much as I used to be. And when I do, it's often like, nah, instrumentals, like no instrumental music that is fairly forgettable, that doesn't engage too much.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth because I'm in the same boat with you. It's like, I've got a lot of thinking to do, and sometimes I really don't want the mood of whatever I'm listening to
Yeah.
to invade what I'm doing, because
Yeah.
it may or may not really be the right kind of mood for what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
And that's interesting too, because I was talking to my friend Brian Davis, who
Yeah.
I do a lot of Canfield stuff with. We're going to be doing a half-day workshop at the end of May, actually,
Cool.
and he's really spent a lot of time kind of plugging in, figuring things out, understanding how our bodies react, the vibrations, all that kind of stuff. And I love talking to him. Some people are like, oh, that's a little too wooey. But the more I get into this, the more I realize how true all this stuff is. And he was talking about the fact that he had to stop kind of listening to music because if you're not careful, you don't pay attention to the language of some of the music, just the down negativity, all that other stuff that, you could, and so it's interesting. I've changed up what I listen to a little bit to be more instrumental and less lyrics, and less I know what the lyrics are. And I have seen a difference in my my mood. So I don't know. Maybe maybe it's one of those, what do they call that, where you take the salt pill instead?
Oh no, yeah, for sure. It can be kind of an effect.
Because I'm believing that it's true, it's going to be true, kind of thing. But anyhow,
it could be a placebo effect. Yeah, no, sure. It
placebo.
could be a
Thank you.
placebo
That's
effect.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, it's like, I don't get me wrong. I will use this to my advantage. There are times where I'm like, no, this is it. It is time for hardcore, fast music. It's time for me to rock out. It's time for some punk music. It's cool. My thing is, most of the time, the algorithm for me does not work out. My shuffle's a little too weird. My own personal collection is too weird too, to the point where even I can't listen to my own damn shuffle because it's just too much stuff from too many different genres, and that's hard because I literally everything from classic rock to punk to hard to rap to to folk music, world music, everything across the board is in that collection, and it's too out there. I almost can't do it. But yeah, it's that kind of gets me. That, and honestly, there are times where I'm like, man, I feel really tired and whacked out, and I'm like, oh, because I've been listening to a really hardcore playlist for like 3 hours while I'm working. I lost track of time, but I'm like, man, driving rhythms for like 3-4 solid hours. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of like, I feel tired. I feel worn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Totally.
Ramona says, when I digitize in front of the television, I always try to put on a movie that I've seen before. I don't feel I've missed anything when I look up.
My wife and I do that sometimes, and for us, that is Star Trek. That is Star Trek series. I don't want to say that out loud, but that is it. Like old, like Star Trek series, we have gone through them multiple times because we work while they're on. That's
there you go.
The truth.
I love it. And then Mr. FU here says volley is so fetch, and I did have to look that up, what fetch meant. So
yeah, when the hot slang is old slang, it's also it's not making anything sound cooler.
Yeah. Mike says I have to be careful with music. Lost a lot of time to air guitar. I thought that was funny.
I demand video. Okay.
Yes.
Saying I demand video.
Yeah.
But hey,
it's not true unless you video it. Is that how that goes?
Yeah. Vids didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. When I do listen to music, I tune into 70s and 80s rock. That's a good stuff. Totally. See, you were just talking about how you're all over the place, and I always felt like I was all over the place, and still till I started hearing about you, right? Because I'll go like 90s hardcore hip hop to country music and all things in between, but you go even further than that. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, because it goes out to world music and folk music and medieval and Renaissance stuff, and like it's all over the board to the point where, like I said, very few people can stand my collection on shuffle, including me.
Yeah.
I got to be in a mood for it. And then also, if I have to start curating my music, then I'm out. Like, it's too much effort for me to do while I'm working.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes, and I'll say this too. Here's another weird tip for anybody who's weird like me. Go to YouTube and look up epic video game music. The music that's made for like open world video games, even if you're not a video game person, it's made for the loop to be in the background and inspirational, but not to come all the way to the foreground.
Hmm.
And because those loops are made to be where you can sit for hours and do a thing while it's playing, but it has some mood to it.
Yeah.
That music does that job of being just in the border of your consciousness really well. And so
I
people
like
have made lots of collections of video game music because now that people have, hours of roaming around an open world to do, then it's a good place to be. So yeah, check that out. Epic video game music is one of the ones I've
Cool.
used for that too. Or hey, the classic lo-fi hip hop station. We all know Girl in the Headphones. If you're on YouTube, I'm also lo-fi hip hop chip tunes, stuff like that, where
Love
it's interesting, instrumental, but doesn't rise all the way to the top of my consciousness and kind of, crowd out something I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
if I do music, but
There you go.
I'm really more of a podcast guy. I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Speaking of that, so is Justin.
Yeah, Justin. Yeah, podcast. By the way, I would love to hear what your podcasts are. Here's my sad podcast thing I did recently because we were watching Star Trek's while we were working. We were watching Voyager a while back.
Yep.
And the Delta Flyers would be the actor who played Tom Paris, the actor who played Harry Kim.
Cast.
Those guys, yeah.
To listen to.
Or there's two other guys, but
Yeah.
I figure you already do.
We want to know what your podcast
You're
list is. You can just go ahead and we know Two Regular Guys is on it, so let's just not worry about that. Get that out of the way.
I'm assuming you're cool. I'm assuming you're cool.
I got one for you. Small Business Saturdays podcast.com.
Also good. Also good.
All right. So what is on your list?
There's the Take Up. We can promote all of our stuff.
Is that podcastable?
Yeah, no. It's not actually. It's on YouTube. It's not podcast. We are so visual at the Take Up that's the one thing I sometimes feel guilty about. Is people are like, I'm working while I listen, and I feel bad because I'll be doing like design analysis. I'm like, I'm pointing at things on screen. You can't really podcast that.
Yeah.
So that's the question I always get. They're like, oh, can we do a podcast? I'm like, I can. Technically, I don't know how much. Like today, we're going to do some design analysis. The first half of the show is podcastable. The second half, I don't know, folks. We're talking about, talking about the customer interview. Yes, talking about, art and analysis of art, and less. Still, there's some good stuff in there, but I know there are times where I'm like, look here at the stitches and how they interact between these two columns. Yeah, you can't do that on a podcast. Sorry, folks.
Wow. All right. Podcasts there. Go to Jeff says, if I listen to music while I'm digitizing lyrics, end up in the underlay.
Nobody just digitizes lyrics by accident. I don't believe you.
All right. Mr. FU says musical day to day Beetlejuice is on. So there we go.
Yep.
All right. Mike says, oh, we don't have enough time to do original versus TNG.
Yes, we do. Next Generation Superior. Not taking questions. I just made a lot of enemies. Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well,
sorry, Trekkies.
You want me to make some more enemies then? I had no idea what he was talking about. So
yeah. See, yeah. This is the Kirk versus Picard question.
Oh man. Oof. All right. No, I don't want to get into that.
Nobody wants that. That heat.
I don't know enough about it to
not nerdy enough.
Bring a good opinion. I don't know. It's not that I'm not nerdy enough because I'm definitely nerdy enough. So, and Mike is on your team there, Eric. So we're good. So
this man knows.
Yep.
He knows.
All right. Bill says nothing but mountain dulcimer music here. Well, only sometimes really. So
like I listen to less of it than I used to when I was playing it all the time.
Yeah. But the fact that I actually can pronounce dulcimer and know what it is thanks very much to Eric. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, and very few of you have heard me play, which I'm going to keep that probably that way. But hey,
all right.
I don't play as much as I used to. It used to be a lot better back in the day.
Someday, somehow, I will get you to play it and I'll videotape it. So,
oh man, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I've always said that before. People was like, "Why don't you do your theme song for the Take Up?" I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know.
All right, Ramona, Star Trek. Original, old cast, and new cast. Yep, me too.
Okay. Oh, yeah, all different series. I'm on all of them. Truthfully,
gotcha.
But yeah, still.
Gotcha. All right, Evelyn, thanks for being here.
Nice.
All right, Mike. Ongoing history of new music with Alan Cross. Addictive, huh? I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Have you checked that one out, Eric, already?
No, I have not. But like I
Okay.
said, I'm always taking concepts here because
Yeah, I
if
like
you're a
it.
digitizer, you make anything for the world, the art world for decorators. You know that you just spend a lot of time drawing, and if you're doing that, then there's plenty of time to be listening to podcasts.
Yeah. Kristen is watching Picard on Paramount right now. So,
Same. Just
ah,
did the run back through. That is the one evening show. We get one show where we dedicate some time to actually watch while we eat dinner, and that is currently it for us. So,
sweet. Cool.
mm.
All right. So Crystal just had a brain fart and took all my cat frames off, turned around to see I still have my last 2 runs to do. All right. So
Oh, that
Eric, help
sucks.
me out here though. As an embroidery newbie, or I wouldn't even
Sure.
call myself a newbie. I'm not even sure I'm in that realm yet. Where does 15 minutes categorize me at?
I don't
I'm
know. Wet behind
pre-newbie.
the ears, yes. Brand
Yeah.
new.
I know what embroidery is, right? Okay. So
You haven't been in
somebody that's
shift.
in
You
that
haven't finished
space,
shift one yet.
what does that mean for your time?
Okay. When
How
you
much
have to
time are you talking
convert,
about wasting there?
depends on the machine that you're on, and if you're on a big multi-head, it's a real pain because you may need help depending on how big your frame, your drivers are. When you're switching over to the cap drive or to the caps, it's not just like the frames, it's not just the hoops. It is literally pulling off the drivers. They have to be connected on and usually bolted back into place. And like I said, it depends on the age of your machine, how easy this is. Also, there are now multi-head machines that have 2 sets of drivers that are easier for one human being to manage. Back in
Gotcha.
the day, on the ones that I was doing on a 12 head machine, it was pretty, the cap driver assembly was pretty long, pretty big, and it might take 2 people to comfortably get it on and off without scratching things up. But it does mean changing off a portion of the assembly. It's not just like clipping in a hoop. You have to take the driver out, and that's a real pain. But it looks like Crystal is actually in some luck. Only 6 heads and no needle plates. Yeah, if you've got universal needle plates, the old cap machines too, or the old machines used to have a different needle plate uh, between the caps and the flats. If you've got universal plates and you have a 6 head, you can do that with one person. That's at least a little bit better.
Yeah.
Worse by far if you've done this on a couple of 12s, which I have done that.
There you
Or
go.
for me, though, I'm going to say this. It wasn't something that I forgot generally. It was that I had a production manager who said, "All right, we're putting on this job." And then something goes, hold the phone. Wait. This person has to go first. They're on caps. And I'm like, I have just broken that machine down for flats. And I'm very unhappy right now that I'll be moving that back over.
All right. Well, Evelyn says, "Oh my Crystal, welcome to
Welcome to
Friday,"
yeah.
and Jeff says, "Pretty good show."
Yeah,
Um,
right on.
and then 15 minutes. That's my experience. Prosumer, right?
No. Prosumers, by the time you buy a prosumer machine, you're usually over 15 minutes. Though I
Okay.
have seen people go full on that first one.
All right.
Yeah, this is true.
Let's see. Wait. I missed one before. Mike says, on my ancient TME-HCs, it's a
Hmm.
full day work to switch out caps to tubular. Better to dedicate a machine to each.
100% if you can keep them split up. I have run that very machine, and yes, dip switches in the back of the head unit, depending. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I was very lucky. The machine that I used the most of my time actually had a single head machine that I ran because it was sampling and small order stuff later on in my life. And I used to love it because it just had a switch. It had a dedicated switch. My old brother commercial had a dedicated flat to cap switch, and it was just a couple of screws to get it on and off. That's a great thing. You got a single head that has a couple things. That's no big deal. But oh, absolutely. When you're talking about those old school machines, yeah, the old Tajimas, yeah, dip switches in the back of the head unit, and really, it takes a minute to get everything bolted off and bolted back on.
Yeah.
It's not fun
Wow.
to switch them.
Wow.
Much better, and usually the right idea to have them swapped out and have one and one.
Yeah.
But we all know there's times where you're running a load of flats or a load of hats, and you need both machines on, and it's just nothing you can do.
Yeah. 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 All right. Crystal says, I'll break with it after lunch. Clearly time for a break. And then, yeah,
Totally.
I'll fix it after lunch. Clearly time
Yep.
for a break. So, yeah, let's
Agreed. Get
get
your
back
break.
in.
Get your lunch in.
Yeah.
Get some nutrients.
Evelyn loves single heads.
Yeah, a lot of people running fleets of singles. I can't argue with that. That was something that back in the day was not really heard of, but especially with the kind of order sizes and the way customization's been going these days, I never blame somebody who's got a fleet of single heads, even when they're running, heck, even if they're running 12 of them. There's definitely good reasons to have multi heads,
Hmm.
but the fleet of singles is a valuable, valid way to run your business, depending on your
Yeah.
mix of customers and your mix of
Yeah.
orders,
Yeah.
big time.
All right, Eric. Well, with about 5 minutes left here, we're not going to be able to get into anything real major. But is there anything else? If you folks
I wanted
tune
to ask
in, let us
you
know where you're
something.
at. If there's anything else that's showing up. But
Oh,
what
there
can
we
we
are.
talk about in 5 minutes, Eric? Oh, um,
Yeah,
Todd
our
says,
Facebook user says
yeah, Facebook user, FU to
says
the
they're
Facebook
like
user.
3D
No,
print
no, that's not
farms.
nice.
Yeah, kind of. The 3D print farms where it's a bunch of little 3D printers tooling away, aside from the fact that despite embroidery being slow, everybody who complains about embroidery being slow must not see 3D print people who sometimes have those things on their bed for 3 days at a
Yeah,
time. But yeah,
yeah,
for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Actually,
I
I
had
had some I would ask you honestly, because I think that, oh well, we have some cool stuff here.
a
We have people just talking about stuff. I thought honestly that we had such a great day with William earlier that I'd try and get you on more inspirational stuff. We may not even have time for that.
No, I think we're probably not don't have time for that, but I think we got some good stuff here.
All
Evelyn,
right.
great to see you. Todd says, let us know what to expect from both of your classes at DAX. And then Lisa follows that up with, where are we seeing you two in
Yes.
person in the near future? So Eric, go.
Okay, real quickly, you'll see us at DAX in Illinois. This is 2 weeks away. So in the Chicagoland area, Tinley Park, we will both be at the DAX shows.
Yep.
I will be doing a half-day class that is finding your foundations, digitizing your first design, and that is me giving you the basic foundations of all the things you need to know to start digitizing. It is not a hands-on live we're digitizing together class. It is all the foundations you need to know so you don't make mistakes as you start. The other short one I'm doing is about editing designs, and it has some overlap. So if you're in the digitizing class, you might not want that one, but it's all about editing and getting your designs to look the best they can. And that's on the next day, and that's only an hour long.
Cool. Awesome.
How about you, sir?
Let's see. I've got two classes. One is called Into Cyberspace. I tried to get a little too creative with the title. The breakdown of it, the basics of it here is, how do you create content today?
Nice.
Meaning, how do we have that conversation with our customers in a digital world? Right. So many of us, our customers, we've never met face to face a lot of times, if you're doing
Mhm.
e-commerce or anything like that. So how do you build a relationship with your customers? And that is through content creation. I'm going to talk a lot about what I've done and what Eric's helped me do and with Two Regular Guys. But I'm not there to say you need to do an hour-long podcast every week. I'm there to say you need to do something where you're having that conversation with your
Mm.
customers, with your potential customers. And so we're going to go through it all. And we're going to talk about, what we've done with Two Regular Guys, kind of the format. I'm going to give you all the nuts and bolts. I'm bringing the studio. So this will be set up in the room. And at the very end, if you're brave enough, you can sit down and deliver your own elevator pitch based on what we've learned. So at the very
Nice.
beginning, I make it really scary and terrifying at the very beginning. And I ask everybody to stand up and tell us what it is that you do. Right. And then after that, we go through, how do we change that story to make it more engaging into people? Now, some people have
Nice.
had really great stories, and you could tell that they've practiced and they've got their elevator pitch down, but we can always figure out ways to make it more engaging. So yeah, we break through all that. I even have a segment at the end where we talk about overcoming our fears and how we do that, because a lot of it is about, I've got to be on screen. I've got to get in front of a camera like this. That's really scary to me. Yet they do it all day long with their customers, and it just happens to be their customers are behind a camera. So we talk about that. And then I give them the opportunity to take away with them at the end of the class a recorded elevator pitch that they can post on their website, on their social media channels, all that stuff. And so the brave ones do it, and the other ones are still working up to it. So we give them all the tools that they need to get to where they need to go. So it's a lot of fun. And then the next day, I completely shift gears and I talk about pricing strategy. So
Go from something where there's a lot of thought and a lot of like creativity involved to just nuts and bolts.
yeah, right into nuts
Brass
and bolts.
tacks.
But we do get into some creativity, talking about
Awesome.
different things. And so
Always.
I'm not going to give you the multiply times 3, and that will give you your value, right? We're going to actually talk about why that's a challenge. So the class is also actually called 3 Pricing Strategies to Avoid and What to Do Instead. So,
Right on.
yep. So there we go. That's what we got. And Dean says you need to figure out how we're going to do this in volley. So I will figure that out.
We'll have to figure it out.
osd.link/volley. So I think we've done it, Eric.
I think we have. I mean, let me just ask you this, because we have one more. Thanks again to Todd for the softball at the end there, my friend.